Mozilla's back, everybody, working on another subscription service instead of Firefox that will maybe, hopefully, help you improve your privacy. This might be good. Today, Mozilla introduced Mozilla Monitor Plus, which is a new tool that automatically scans the web and removes your information from various data brokers online, which is it's definitely a growing industry, and it's interesting to see Mozilla kind of get into this space. I've been looking into the data broker stuff for a little while now as I prepare to write some information about it for privacy guides, and a lot of the options out there are really hard to navigate. So Mozilla coming in with potentially an all-in-one solution is quite cool. So if this is something that's interesting to you, it's definitely worth taking a look here. This is called Mozilla Monitor Plus. If you are familiar with Mozilla Monitor, it's because a few years ago they launched a free version where they basically partnered with Have I Been Pwned to scan all of these different data breaches and tell you if your email or password was compromised, which is a very similar service to what Have I Been Pwned offers natively, but it's done through your Mozilla account automatically. Now they have a new plan where they are going to basically scan 190 different data broker sites that might be selling your personal info, and then they will automatically opt you out of appearing on those sites if you pay this plan. They also have a free version where they will perform that scan for you one time and you can opt out yourself, but this monthly plan is probably what most people who are worried about data brokers are going to look at, because opting out is kind of a time-consuming process, and it's also something that you often have to repeat as your data gets bought again by these companies and gets relisted even though you opted out the first time. The whole data broker industry is just it's a huge mess in general. It's ridiculous, and these automatic solutions that are offered by various companies, including now Mozilla, are pretty much the only ways to kind of stay out as much as possible from having your personal information exposed on all of these places. So according to this blog post, this is very new, but all you have to do when you sign up is basically enter your first and last name, the current city and state that you live in, your date of birth, and your email address, and Mozilla is going to go and search for that information from all of these different sites, and if they find it, they are going to opt you out. And this is a big problem with data broker opt-out in general. A lot of the times it does require you to send your information to these sites in the first place in order for them to look up the records and opt you out. It's a whole mess, and there's a lot of like conflicting information about like whether you should do it and whether it's actually more harm than good. I've seen some theories that data broker sites use searches like this to confirm the information that they already have, because since you're searching for it, it's probably accurate and they can then use that information to fine-tune their database. There's theories like that. There's theories that it just doesn't work. I mean, there's so many data broker sites out there that it's really ridiculous to get a handle on. But if you go and search your name or your address on any search engine and you do have all of these data broker sites pop up, which is the case for a lot of people. In the vast majority of cases, these data broker sites are going to have your personal information already. And that's just the reality of the world that we live in without strong privacy controls in the United States and other countries to actually protect our data, which we simply don't have, at least here in America. So using services like this overall is probably going to be more good than bad. It might be worst case scenario helping these data broker companies fine tune their data sets, but at the end of the day, they're still going to at least remove your data from public view and opt you out, and that can be a huge difference when it comes to having your information easily be found by like random people on the street or anyone searching your name, that kind of thing. So if your information is already out there and you know that, I definitely do recommend using a data broker removal service like this. I've been testing out a bunch of them lately and I haven't really come to a conclusion about which one is the best, but Mozilla is a very trusted name in the privacy space, so the fact that they launched this right as I was doing this is just something that I wanted to highlight for everyone and then talk about data brokers a bit more, because it's really it's interesting to me that they even got into this business in the first place, but it means that they recognize that this is actually a growing problem. So if you look at the pricing for it, like I said, it's $9 a month, which I guess it's hidden behind my camera. $9 a month for their yearly plan. And if you're not familiar with it, that's actually a pretty decent deal compared to a lot of different data broker sites that I've been researching lately. So if you look at some competitors like Optory, for example, their similar removal plan is going to be $14.99 a month. If you look at Canary, another popular one, it's again $15 a month. And then Abind Delete Me is going to be almost $11 a month unless you pay 2 years, then it comes out to be slightly cheaper. Delete Me is something that I haven't used yet, but I've seen, but Henry from Techlore has used it and recommends it on his site, so it's probably a pretty good service. But if you compare it to all of these different data broker opt-out places, basically, it does come in at about the same price or cheaper than all these other services. And the reason that these services are so expensive is because they do the automatically scanning of all of these different sites in the first place, and then they only send the opt-out to sites that already have your data. This is in comparison to some other free sites that'll do the same thing. For example, Consumer Reports has a free permission slip app that lets you opt out of a lot of different data broker sites and even sends that information out automatically. So it is cool for free, but I don't really like this tool that much because what it does without that scanning aspect is it basically just sends your name and address to every single data broker that they have on their list in like an email and tells them to opt out if they have your data. But if they don't have your data, you're obviously sending that information out to data brokers who might not have your data in the first place, and that could potentially worsen the problem. I haven't really seen any data as to whether companies that don't have your data already use these opt-out requests to add you to their database or not, but avoiding that kind of thing is definitely something I would recommend. So that's the difference between like a free data broker opt-out app like Permission Slip by Consumer Reports and a scanning one like Canary or now Mozilla Monitor. It's worth noting that much like Mozilla VPN, Mozilla isn't actually running this service themselves. They've partnered with another company that already does this data broker removal stuff, and that company is OneRep. So basically, if you sign up for this, they still do the Have I Been Pwned scanning as well with Mozilla Monitor, but if you have Monitor Plus, they're going to receive all that information you give Mozilla, and then OneRep is going to perform the scanning and opting out on your behalf. And if you look at OneRep's pricing, they sell this directly themselves, just like Mulvad sells the same product as Mozilla VPN, for example, and it's pretty comparable pricing. This is, again, annual pricing. It's $8.33 a month for pretty much the exact same service that Mozilla Monitor covers. And OneRep also has a family plan, which is super cool. It can do 6 people for $15 a month. Again, it's more expensive if you pay monthly, but the annual plans make a lot of sense to me. And OneRep isn't a service that I've actually used yet, but it's worth noting that if you trust Mozilla to have done their due diligence and kind of vet these providers and chosen OneRep based on how well it works and their privacy policy and that kind of thing, going with them directly could be better, especially if you have a family. But on the other hand, there is a lot of value in, I think, having like a single place to do all this. If you are in the Mozilla ecosystem, if you use Firefox, if you already have a Mozilla account and you have maybe Mozilla VPN already, keeping it all in one place is probably not a bad option, and Mozilla Monitor might be a good option for you. This is just pretty new information, and it's something that I'm going to be testing out further. So if you want to see more information about data brokers in general, definitely let me know in a comment. Otherwise, if you do want to read more about data brokers, there's this great article on Consumer Reports by Yael Grauer, who is an excellent journalist when it comes to the whole data broker and privacy scene in general. And she has this whole article on opting out, where she also recommends 3 different services, including OneRep. So that is worth noting. Yael also has this list on GitHub called the Big Ass Data Broker Opt-Out List, which is a fantastic name. And this list basically gives you information about how to opt out of all of these people search sites and other things with like direct links to the opt-out pages and exactly how to do it. So when it comes to opting out of all of these data broker sites, it's definitely something that you can do yourself. You can opt out manually, you can perform all these searches, and some of these services will do the scans for free. They just won't opt out for free in most cases. Optory is one, for example, where they say that they will scan every 90 days and send you a report, but then you have to go and opt out yourself. So if you're looking for an automatic scanner, that could be an option for you, or you can just search the internet for your name and information and opt out of all the sites where you find it, that kind of thing. But there are just so many data broker sites, and they all sell data to each other and that kind of thing, that it really does make the most sense to opt for an automatic opt-out service. So yeah, that was just some new information this morning. Mozilla getting into yet another product sector with their subscription services. Let me know what you think about Mozilla Monitor Plus, or if you use a data broker opt-out service yourself, and if you're thinking about switching maybe, or if you think that this is just a total waste of time to deal with all of this stuff, and you're not going to bother removing all of your information from these data broker services. It's a really complicated topic in my opinion, but I'm glad that more big companies like Mozilla are getting into this and hopefully bring the service to a lot more people, because the industry is just, like I said, it's crazy. Anyways, that was just a quick update for you all this morning. If you're not subscribed already, be sure to get subscribed, and I will see you all in my next video.